Shalom, Mashpaka. All praises to the Most High in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, we come again on Jacob's Ladder. I'm Brother Kahal.
His brother Ezra.
Jeremiah here.
Jeremiah sound a little depressed, but that's okay. We'll hopefully the Spirit will perk him up. But
sorry, Jeremiah is here. I'm happy.
Anyway, disclaimer, just once again, do the like, share, subscribe. We thank you for coming back to the video. Those who have made it this far, hopefully you want to make it endure all the way to the end. And once again, putting the disclaimer out there to go all, make sure you go, if you come to this video, go all the way up into our introduction video before you start looking at these videos, because it's very imperative that you see where we're going into some serious topics. But this is a game changer right here and stuff in our walk moving forward, whether you're a Danite or whether you're Judah or Levi for that matter. So with that being said, we got, just giving a, shout out to affiliate channels and channels that we, have respect for, which Blaze Judah is one of those channels that we have respect for, and kind of, glaze at his stuff because he acknowledges the gospel, even though I see the gospel is rising in other awoke Israelites as well, periodically. So all praises to the Most High in Christ in that. And then, or of course, our affiliate channels is, a Hebrew Christ Gospel channel and mainstream channels. So check out those channels, subscribe to them, trying to all come together and bring forth this truth. So with that being said, we're in part 3, Judah or Dan. Not all Israel is of Israel. So with this part we're going to go into is, just to show you Dan and his desires of the priesthood and the temple and all these things that, that he is in that power. Because remember, we went through the 12 patriarchs, he has a jealousy issue. And it's like, I guess he's first born out of the slave women and doesn't like his status as a brother. So it's he's taking it out took it out on Joseph first and taking it out on Levi and Judah. So and ultimately, if you're attacking Levi and Judah, you're attacking the whole tribe and stuff, because if we don't get it together, then they ain't gonna get together and stuff. So and they know that. That's why he's focused on us. So we're just gonna show you what he was allotted and how he is an idolater and what his skill actually is.
I'm gonna show y'all the real dirty Dan. All right, so this is going to Exodus chapter 38, verse 21. It says, "This is the sum of the tabernacle, even the tabernacle of the testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses, for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest."
Son of Aaron the priest. So the tabernacle, as most people understand, that they had to build an earthly tabernacle like the one that's in heaven, so the Most High Spirit could come down and commune with men inside the tabernacle with the holy priests. Okay.
Verse 22. And Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses.
So Judah was the builder of the tabernacle. So he has the skills and the power of the work with his hands. And guess what? Ironically, Judah, a carpenter, mind you. Now the same thing how creation was done, right? Judah did what? He built the heavens and earth, right? That was Judah that did that. Okay, so he was the carpenter. He was the one that was the builder. Now let's see what Dan's function was.
All right, it says 23, and with him was Aholiab, the son of Eshamach, the tribe of Dan, an engraver, and a cunning workman, an embroiderer in blue, and in purple, and in scarlet, and in fine linen.
So just like, and this is ironic, like this is how this ended up, right? Because just like in creation, Christ created everything, and then the Holy Spirit dressed everything up and made it look nice and pretty. Put a nice little style to this, right? On the righteous side and the blessed side. So now you got the same thing going on, but now you got, Dan dressing up the tabernacle after Judah creates it, just like in creation. And he's doing all the nice emblems and the diamonds and pearls on the walls, and dressing up the curtains and the carpets and making it look all nice. But then it ends up on the evil side. Is that how that works? Evil spirit, and a righteous spirit in the same construct of creating the tabernacle.
Well, when you say it ends up on the evil side, what do you mean by that?
Well, because Dan, the serpent. So not at the time that he created that, and at the time he made that, but that's where he ended up dealing with the serpent.
The reason I was asking is because when you read, it says embroider in blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen, and you read in Revelation to talk about the woman, in fine linen and scarlet,
right?
So it's like, where did she get that from? Who did she? That woman riding the beast.
Yes.
Like you were saying earlier, Dan is behind the scenes.
Yes.
Doing, giving the power behind Esau. And it's like, man, he is getting her. She got her clothes from Dan.
You see what
I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. That was a good one right there. Dang, if I'd have thought of that one, I'd have threw that in this. I would have threw that in this study. Well, I don't know if I would have threw it, but I'd have put this.
You would have typed it in there really fast.
Yeah, I typed it in there pretty much. That was a good one, bro. That was what you remember the number of that scripture, the Revelation scripture?
I honestly don't, because I think it's also in Daniel too.
Yeah, that's a good read on that. See, I didn't even think of it. All praises.
So, Jeremiah, you had something to say?
No, just looking at that engraver. So he's also a carpenter, a mason, skillful, smith, workman or worker. So that word engraver goes back to mason. Just thought I'd put that in there. And then cunning worker.
Cunning worker. That's weird.
And he's already a snake. And he's a cunning snake.
What's a cunning workman? Like slick, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy that it would be a cunning
to
workman.
Weave or let's see here. Look at the definition.
Because it's like, man,
wow.
Embroider, we all know what that means. Just putting the embroiders on clothing. But the thing that caught my eye was the scarlet and fine linen, and then dealing with, like I said, what you said earlier about Dan kind of being behind the scenes. Of, Esau and him.
You should pull up the definition for cunning worker. It's H2803. It says to properly to plight or interpret, that is literally to weave or generally to fabricate, figuratively to plot or contrive, usually in a malicious sense. Hence, from the mental effect, to think, regard, value, compute, make an account of. The definition is like, that's bad, man. Devise, esteem, find out, forecast, hold, imagine, invent. That's what's attributed to him. That's crazy. That's very crazy when you think about it, because if he's an engraver and then he can make things up, he can forecast. So that means, in other words, he can literally predict what will happen, so he can set something up with the idea of what it's going to result in. So he's one of those people that plays like when you're playing, like you play chess, he's 3 or 4 moves ahead of you.
And also means he can invoke spirits through his engravings and stuff like that.
Yeah, it says right here in Isaiah 40:20. It does. I don't know if it's pertaining to Dan, but it's also still using the word cunning workman, where it says, "He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved."
Well, that's Dan. That's his thing.
So
Man,
he
that
can-
graven images.
Yeah. Definitely an interesting thing right there. So
Verse 24.
I like the part though in the engraver. It literally says Mason.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, there
Like
you go.
Freemason.
Yeah, really.
Oh damn.
Black Blue Lane.
So it says, so we still in Exodus 38, verse 24. All the gold that was occupied for the work and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary.
See, so he had all the embroidery. So all these little things that you see, those trinkets and all that other stuff of idolatry, bro. Dan was an expert of all of that and stuff. He ain't just innocent. This stuff ain't just out here all happenstance. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And this is what's keeping our people, you know what I'm saying, oppressed. You know, being around this stuff. But
So we got Judges chapter 5, verse 17. Gilead abode beyond Jordan, and why did Dan remain in ships? Asher continued on the seashore, and abode in breaches.
So-
Supposed to be beaches?
yeah, Dan. So Dan was known as a sea merchant in the Mediterranean. He's known for being a sea merchant. He was constantly in ships doing trade and constantly traveling between Jerusalem, the lands of Israel, and Greece and stuff. Not a lot of people know that and understand that, but yeah, that's what Dan did. He was constantly going back and forth from those areas. Okay, so that's why it says about him remaining in ships. But go ahead.
We're gonna go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking on servants upon the ground, upon the earth.
So this is what Brother Ezra was speaking of earlier on
Mhm.
another lesson or study, you know, about the servants who are upon the horses, which are the ones that's operating now,
Mhm.
and the princes. Now, who's Israel? Israel's the prince who has power with God and with man.
Mm.
Yeah, right? Is walking as servants upon earth. So who's the servants today?
Mm.
Who's constantly up there demanding to get reparations from somebody who has the power to give it, right? Okay, so you know who the servants are that's upon horses and the princes that are walking on the earth. All right, next script.
Okay. So the thing to think about when it comes to the servants are on horses and the princes are walking as servants on the earth is that we've heard phrases like black people owned slaves back in the day, right?
Mhm.
So who was riding around on the horses during that time? Some of the black slave owners were some of the worst ones that we've ever heard of in history. Like, they're bad. And then they had more slaves than other people did too. And they were treacherous. I mean, they did all they were bad. So this could also be referencing to that kind of event too.
Exactly. It's all of
It's
that.
Dan owning his own owning slaves of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
And then them Biden trying to give Africans, you know what I mean, reparations for what happened for those that actually got brought over here. Or on top of that, them trying to put the blame back on, you know what I mean? Well, if you really want to place the blame, you should go back to the people that sold them to us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, so we gonna y'all Esau putting the blame back on Dan now because he looked like us. Well, it wasn't just y'all sold your own people. It's like, nah. When you were over there, everybody with the same skin color still knew who each person was. Y'all the ones that got confused. That's why we went over there.
Yeah, I think they're just paying. I think when it comes to Biden, though, he's just paying dividends to people that they have business dealings with. So that'd be a little different. But when it comes to that, yeah, it's very telling though when you think about it, how we hear this now, and the defense is, well, oh yeah, well, some Judah just did that, but that doesn't make sense. I mean, Judah did that to Judah. Judah's been abased. So how did Judah have the capacity to sell his own brother? That doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't make sense on its face. Something else has to explain that. And Dan being the one doing that as a merchant still remained on the
In
ship.
ships.
Yeah, it's because he's going to get another boatload.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Got more Israelites to give to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Where we at? Was
Genesis 32 and 28.
Yeah, so we're going to Genesis chapter 32, verse 28 says, and he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for a prince that hast thou power with God and with men.
Just to show you who the prince is
Mhm.
that is walking as servants right now. It's Israel.
Yeah, it has prevailed.
Uh-huh.
We're going to go down
And we're going to prevail over this as well. So we're struggling with Dan and the other nations. Yeah, and we're going to end up prevailing over it. But go ahead.
Says
Judges.
Yeah, we're going to Judges chapter 18, verse 29. And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan, their father, who was born unto Israel.
Now, remind you, Dan had his own portion, had his own portion. Now, you have to read up to see the contents of what's going on there, but he had his own portion within Israel. But Dan is going all over the place. Remind me of Canaan coming off the boat. They was all allotted areas to go, and Canaan went into the lands of Israel before Israel was established, obviously. And his brothers went to the areas that they were allotted, and the brothers told him, "Say, hey man, why are you going over there? You know you're gonna get in trouble." He didn't care. He just went into our eventual lands, and he's still there this day. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna get rooted out eventually, but Dan's doing the same thing, just going all over the place, creating his own cities. But go ahead.
It says, who was born unto Israel, howbeit the name of the city was Laish at the first. And the children of Dan set up the graven image.
The graven images, idolater. So you got these Danites here; they are idolaters. That's their
workmen.
That's working with his hands, and cunning workmen, invoking demon spirits. Right? Go ahead.
And Jonathan, the son of Geshom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests of the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. Verse 31, and they set them up in Makkah's graven image, which he made all the time of the house of God was in Salah.
There you go. So just showing you that Dan is idolatrous ways. He's not a priest. He want to be a priest, but however, he's invoking demons with his idolatry, and he's doing it unto this day.
Yes, we're gonna go jump down into 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 27. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, the king of Judah, and they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So again, we did it, and then they did it again 2 times.
Go ahead.
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan.
Now here you go. Now, of course, when Bethel was originally established, that was established under Abraham as the house of God, right? So that was a righteous place. But when Dan got a hold of it, what God is the house of God now? What God is the house of Bethel now?
The golden calf.
2 golden calves. So basically, the spirit of the 2 golden calves is in Bethel. Now, guess what we got here in America? Have you ever heard of these churches of Bethel?
I don't think so.
No, I know.
It sounds familiar, but I don't.
I know so-called pastors that pastor church called Bethel.
Oh, I haven't, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That's why it's in here. That's why it's in here, because I have, for sure. What about you, Jeremiah?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
But I will. But I think it's interesting though to think about the two calves. That it makes you wonder when Moses was over there first with Aaron, who might have played a little bit of a background there to get Aaron to do that stuff to begin with, to make the first two set of gold calves. Could have been Dan back then.
Right? You're right about that. But still case in point with the situation with the thing in Bethel is that there's churches. Well, there's churches here in America with our people in it called the Church of Bethel. And I'm sure that there's some Danites or Masons or whatever that are running those churches. And our people are drove up in there.
Got golden calves in the back room.
So if anybody out there look at this video and they got a relative or know somebody, Church of Bethel, you got an idea what's going on there. But go ahead.
Verse 30. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made a house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
Has no authority, and he's just doing whatever he want to do.
Winging it.
Yeah. And this is why our people's under the covenant. He's just doing whatever.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, in the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah, and offered unto the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he made, and he placed in Bethel the priest of the high place which he had made. So he offered unto the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar a burnt incense. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel. Howbeit from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit, the gold calves that were in Bethel and were in Dan.
So there you go. Just showing you the destruction that was done by Dan and the Danites to get us to where we are. Still understanding that spirit of Dan that was back then is the same one that's living today, just like Esau. So you got Dan operating the same way. But go ahead.
We're jumping down to Judges chapter 18. This is dealing with Danite's take, the Levite and the idol. So
verse 1.
In those days there was no king in Israel, and in those days the tribe of Danites sought them an inheritance to dwell in. For unto the day all their inheritance had not fallen unto them among the tribes of Israel. And when the children of Dan sent of their family 5 men from the coast,
back in those ships, they're dealing with them ships. The coast. Go ahead.
Men of valor from the Zohar and Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said unto them, Go search the land. Who, when they came to the mount of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, they lodged there. Verse 3. When they were by the house of Micah, they knew the voice of the young men, the Levite, and they turned in thither and said unto him, Who brought thee hither? And what makest thou in this place? And what house thou there?
So that's where it's sent up there in the house where they're making all those casts, the Levites. So when you talk about how he angered Levi, here he's just destroying Levi's priesthood. You know what I'm saying? Right before his eyes. You know what I mean? Just usurping his whole priesthood. All right, so this is the last chapter in this part.
So we jumping down to verse. Second Kings, chapter 23. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. And the king went up in the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great, and he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant which was found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal.
They were made for Baal. Who made these temples and vessels for Baal?
Dan.
You know what I'm saying? He's the one that was responsible for dressing up the temple. That was his job. Not to be the priest, not to run the temple, but to dress it up. And he wondered why he angered Levi. But go ahead.
And from the grove, and for all the hosts of heaven, and he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the adulterous priests who the king of Judah had obtained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, in the place round about Jerusalem, them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven.
Which we told you back in Deuteronomy, 4:19 not to do, and stuff, 19 and 20. Here they doing it. Unbelievable. But go ahead.
That's it.
Go ahead.
That right there, the sun, the moon, and the planets, and the hosts of heaven. I mean, that's like zodiac stuff.
Yes,
that's like that's all that you name it. That's all this. That's just sheer insanity. I mean, that's straight paganism.
Well, here you go, man. You see where we got all this stuff at today, and there you got within our people. They're big on that stuff, bro. Thinking they could get power from that stuff. It's crazy. Well, you see where it came from, right? But go ahead.
Was it 6?
I think you had verse 4. Was you?
No,
5.
I'm gonna read 6 over.
5, host of heaven. Okay, yeah, you're in 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna start 6 over again. And he brought out of the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it at a brook Kidron, and stomped it small to powder, and cast powder therefore upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the grove.
So what we just established this chapter to show you the extent that Dan went to usurp the priesthood, which will come into question later when it comes down to Christ. How Dan, infiltrated the priest. But this is what we got here. You see how he was operating, and this was back in the times where we pretty much just came out of Egypt. He didn't waste no time. He hit the ground running and hasn't stopped ever since. So just to show you who is operating and want to be priests and want to be the rulers and the judges of his people and how he's operating. So we just want to place that in there and show you that, so you get a sense that, man, a lot of these people that are running over these churches, synagogues, mosques, all these people that look like us and be us, hey, most likely, if Dan ain't sitting at the head of it right in front of your face, he's somewhere behind the scenes. So,
there's something else to think about when it comes to graven images, and there's videos you can go look this up on, is that You look at certain things like a lot of the temples that we have, like like all those temples over there in Washington D.C., all those, the banks, the all that those graven images that are all throughout all these buildings, all throughout the country, where they have like demons and just gargoyles and all kinds of just weird
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Baphomet, all that stuff. They're workers of that. They're engravers. They're masons. So they probably built a lot of those things in there, and they're just good at that. And those things have spirits in them, that they can play spirits in them. That's all their beliefs, and and part of them, some of the Mason or the enlightened ones, if you call them, or the Illuminati, they believe in having things out front, but secretly. It's secret, but you can see it. It's like the all-seeing eye. It's all that stuff, and that makes perfect sense that they were building that stuff then. So then you take and you bring it to the present. What has that today? And almost all of the major courts, the buildings, they're all just filled with this stuff. And I would even go so far as to say, since they were cunning and they were engravers, that they actually figured out ways to put this in words too. I mean, because they put it, like, if you think about different names of diseases, of you name it, they're words that go back to angels or fallen angels, the moon, the sun, the planets. A lot of that stuff's also embedded in that, and just symbolism, like a lot of the artwork you see, for advertisements and logos for companies. I mean, we're really talking about how it's embedded in every bit of society today.
Yeah,
And they could have did all that.
that's great. I didn't think about that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of symbolism in logos and just all the signs and stuff behind the scenes that give messages that no one really knows what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And then you wear it on your head, you wear it on your feet, you wear it on your chest. You put these logos all over yourself.
Yep, those kryptonite.
Just labeling yourself. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. I'm in total agreement with that, brother, and stuff. And like I said, man, I've been in the courtroom, going to courtroom, and just like almost like this, it's like a heavy spirit that's there, and it's like you just put on about 10 pounds or something as you're walking in there, man, and you just feel it, and then I come out with a headache, bro, big time. And stuff, just dealing in those arenas, man, and that they just gained that power through that. And then, like I said, Dan, he took down Israel himself. So who do you hire? If you got the power over this whole world, who are you going to hire? Who are you going to hire to say, hey, man, you got something going on over there because you found a way to take down your brethren. So how about we just be chummy chums so I can run this kingdom and stuff? Just subdue Judah, and that's all I need. Just subdue Judah, and that's it. And that's what he's been doing the whole time. You know what I'm saying? But today's a new day, bro. We haven't even got out of their year of 2022 yet. You know what I'm saying? So we placing something up there so you'll know that this is going all the way into from 2022 to 2023. So is there anybody got anything else to say on this?
Stop wearing all them clothing with all them stupid little symbols on it. Take that stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
Get some just no labeled clothing. No labels.
Yeah. Stop mixing your
I've
garbage.
done that a long time ago.
All right. So what's that being said? Thanks for coming in and watching. We got another part to go. It's all to tie into the whole story. So now you just saw that Dan usurped. You're watching Dan usurp the priesthood and taking down Israel through his idolatry. All right. So with that being said, see you on the next video. Shalom.
Peace and blessings.
They used our oppression as a tool for protection and sympathy as a weapon, just like you. I see the dots start connecting as these fake Jews call yay anti-Semitic. History of oppression, you can't disagree with them. Sympathy is a weapon. If you do, you mistreating them. They rip the black billionaire in front of your face to say no matter how rich you get, stay in your place, nigga. Promote sex, drugs, murder on the daily. You can kill babies. You can say a man got pregnant by a lady. The things that you can't say don't make you question why what you can say is gravy. I'ma kill a nigga, I'ma kill a Jew. One of those are wrong, one of those are cool. One of those will get a rich black man canceled. The other one will put a new Grammy on his mantle. But what do I know? I'm just a Christian rapper, black entrepreneur, black father active, black husband rapping like he care about a black life, black philanthropist, water to Africa and a Flint, black man of God with a catalog. Your children can rap along with in the car with you, and it's hard. And I ain't saying this so y'all support me. I'm just trying to show you what y'all been calling corny. People remember the narrative is imperative. What other reason would Jews flip on Jesus and choose Barabbas? We still choosing the killers over the healers, huh? We still follow whatever leaders they give us, huh? Look at the ones with the most influence. They won't go against the grain. They paid to make the grain look doper to us. I digress, y'all. I just be over here corny, watching all the cool rappers put a dress on. I just want you to take a look at the industry, Hollywood and music. Look at the symmetry. Look at what they push. Look at what they claim to be about. Look how anybody in disagreement get weeded out. Think about what you and them agree about. Abortion and same sex, and one result they both bring about death. But God is life, so the plan is murder your seed to make sure it don't get planted. Y'all remember God made a promise to Abraham to multiply his seed. Now look at Satan's plan. He got us brainwashed so bad we march for the right to do it to ourselves. Look, ma, no hands. But you don't think the devil real, so you can't see it. So you never understand why they hate Jesus. Just beware of wickedness in high places, claiming they Jews, but they the synagogue of Satan.